Hey there, everybody. Welcome back. This is Orphan Car Garage. This is my YouTube channel. My name is John. I'm located in Abington, and that's in the state of Massachusetts. We're about 30 minutes or so south of Boston. Really rolling out some cool ones for you recently. This one's no different. A little bit out of character for us, admittedly. We have a really cool hot rod here. It's a Ford. It's a 1947 Ford Super Deluxe Convertible. Very, very tastefully resto-modded. Several years ago, I'm going to guess probably in the 1990s, but it's held up fairly well. Well enough to make this car a really cool, turnkey, and enjoyable driver for somebody. There is absolutely nothing you need to do to this car but drive it, unless you wanted to bring it to another level, which actually I wouldn't really do. I mean, we've done a lot to it here. We've paint corrected the paint. This is a really cool burgundy color that would have been correct for 1947. So the car has a very factory stock appearance, both inside and outside. That goes outside the lines of stock once we start getting underneath the skin, and I'll get to that in a minute. But as you can see, the paint overall is held up decently well. This hood looks like it was painted since the restoration. The hood paint is in the best condition on the car. The fenders are older paint, probably again from the 1990s, and if you get it really close, you can see some dimpling and some checking. But we did polish it up as best we could, and it looks really, really good. It's a really, really cool, again, turnkey car. Now, what makes this so great for today is that the things that were done to it that you can't see on the outside really improve its drivability on today's roads. You know, one of the biggest problems we have with cars from this era, when they're all completely factory stock, is it can be on today's roads, the way people drive around us today and the way people speed. It can be a rather white knuckle experience when you're driving these old cars, especially pre-war cars, with four-wheel manual drum brakes, 6-volt ignition system, manual steering, all manual linkage. There's no power assist anywhere. The cars can be sort of a chore to drive. They're great to look at. Nobody loves a factory stock original car more than me. But cars from this era are becoming increasingly more difficult to drive, like it or not. So when you do things like the owner did to this car to improve that drivability, it really makes this car far more enjoyable to drive on today's roads. Now, what do I mean when I say things that we've done to improve it? Well, right away we'll notice that the car has a Ford independent front suspension, probably a Mustang 2 front suspension. We've got four-wheel disc brakes all the way around. Power steering was added. Of course, those disc brakes are also power assisted. Instead of the Ford flathead V8 that this car probably came with when it was new, that's been replaced with a small block Chevy 350. Now, before all you Ford guys go nuts, just realize that this is done on these cars many, many, many times, and I actually don't have a problem with it because that Chevy 350 is so reliable, so turnkey, and parts availability will be for eternity, right off the shelf at your local parts store. So it makes this car extremely reliable and easy to maintain. As we look to the inside of the car, you'll see that when they restored the car, they kept a very factory stock appearance with these very correct looking leather seat covers. Same with the dashboard. The gauges were replaced, but replaced with vintage style gauges. There's even a tachometer over there on the passenger side. The banjo style steering wheel mounted to a later GM column with tilt. This has a tilt steering wheel, and of course, the 4-speed GM automatic transmission has been installed as well, which makes this car easy to drive on the highway. That coupled with the 9-inch Ford rear end that was added to the vehicle during that restoration as well. Again, all these things add up to a vehicle that's far more enjoyable to drive on today's roads. Completely factory stock? No. But at least for the most part, they kept the factory stock appearance on the outside. Now, if this were my car, I leave everything pretty much the way it is, except maybe the stance. I think what I would do, because I would want to give the car a completely factory stock appearance on the outside, is probably bring the wheels back and the height back to a factory stock height with a factory stock looking wheel, maybe with some baby moons. But again, that's all preference and easy bolt-on stuff. It's got some American racing wheels here all the way around. I think we've got some 195, 65, 15 tires on the front, and I believe these are 235s in the rear, giving that car that stance. 235, 75. So yeah, so obviously we've got some larger tires on the rear than we do on the front. I probably would correct that, give the car a more factory stance. It certainly has a factory appearance. Now, again, this car was restored, we're guessing in the 1990s. It was also restored in California. So this car was in California. We don't know for how long before it was brought here to Massachusetts, which was about 4 or 5 plus years ago. Actually, our most recent owner purchased it 4 or 5 years ago. Purchased it from a dealer on the North Shore of Massachusetts. So this car probably came here longer than 4 or 5 years ago. We just don't know when, but there is some remnants of California on the car. There's an SCTA sticker here, Southern California Timing Association. We're assuming that's like a Southern California hot rod club, maybe. This car definitely came from California, especially since California issued it its own serial number. And there's this California issued serial number right here. And that's how the car is titled here in Massachusetts as well. As you know, 1947 serial numbers were a little funky. Sometimes they used the engine serial number for the VIN. Sometimes they used the sequence number that was on the data plate under the hood. There was a lot of confusion over VIN numbers back in this era. So I think California tried to standardize that by issuing them their own standardized serial number. So that's a California thing. The other way we could tell this car is definitely in California is the condition of the undercarriage. There's a very good possibility this car spent its whole life on the West Coast prior to coming here as a collector vehicle. The undercarriage of this car is outstanding. You could literally eat off the frame. There are pictures of that on my website, orphancargarage.com. I encourage everybody to check that out. You won't believe it. There is no evidence of this car ever having been rusted. The chrome is in really nice shape. Not a whole lot to pick apart. Taillights with those typical blue dots there. We've got a gas door guard, very 1947. Again, you'll see some checking in the paint back here. That's probably 30 or 35-year-old paint maybe. But no bubbling, no rust. You won't find any rust on this car whatsoever. Again, a very, very clean vehicle. Turnkey driver, we call it. We've got some spotlights here that are not hooked up, so they are for appearance only, both on the passenger side and the driver's side, but they give a good look. And we've got a passenger side mirror, which I'll correct there as well, which always helps. Nice headlights, trim, a nice grille with those red accents, preserved very well. A little flaw here in the paint, some chipping. The front bumper, same thing, very, very nice. That hood ornament, which would be correct and original, from 1947. We'll get in the car now. I'll start it up for you. Oh, while I'm thinking of it, the battery, let me see if this is unlocked. Oh, it is. Good. Battery's in the trunk. Battery was moved to the trunk in this box here. Not uncommon to see in a resto mod. Really nice, clean trunk bag. Reproduction mat. Some wood, the wood floor there. We just washed everything, so there's still some dampness. Everything was washed out for you. Really, really clean in there. I just wanted to show you that and show you that the battery's been mounted in the back. Decent door panels. What is that? Can you see that? Where is it? Yeah, there it is. We got a chicken walking around. Never seen that before. That's a new one. Maybe I'll make it the shop mascot. Decent door panels that match the seats. All nicely done. Leaves courtesy of fall in New England. The car has a power, or I'm going to say probably a hydraulic top as well, which is kind of neat. I went to put the top down and I assumed it was manual. I was having difficulty with it. So I Googled it. Thank God for Google. And I realized that these cars came equipped with a hydraulic operated top. So once I used that top button, the top actually worked. So we've got some later gauges here. Odometer showing 45,084, which obviously is not going to be correct. So true mileage unknown on this car. But some really nice gauges. They all work. They're all vintage in appearance. And we've also got that RPM tachometer over there, which does also work. And we've got a glove box. Vintage sticker there. Looks like the dashboard was, so look at this, an ashtray. An ashtray for the driver and an ashtray for the passenger. Of course. Of course. Again, that tilt wheel, which is nice to see. We've got some billet pedals there, nice carpeting, cleaned them up a little bit. Could probably use a little bit more cleaning, but there's some age there, so they're only going to get so good. Again, a nice turnkey driver that you don't have to worry too much about. We got a Pioneer working AM/FM cassette stereo here. She fires right up nice. Car has headers and dual exhaust, but it's not obnoxious. Do this with one hand. There we go. That wasn't so bad. So there we have that GM Chevy 350 small block under the hood with some chrome valve covers. Of course, an Edelbrock carburetor. We've got power steering. We've got some headers. I've also got power brakes. Really clean engine bay for the most part. Detail that a little bit more if you wanted to. Nice running 350. Can't really go wrong with a 350. Paint flaw right here. So as you can see, the paint, I'm going to give the paint overall maybe a 6.5 out of 10. But again, presentable. Got that cool vent there to get air, early air conditioning. That works. Windshield wipers, headlights, everything works. Car will pass inspection. So there you have it, this hot rodded 1947 Ford Super Deluxe convertible. Really sharp car. I love the color combination on this. Again, not usually something in our wheelhouse, but I couldn't pass it up. Asking price on this, $32,900. $32,900. You cannot build one of these or even close to that for this price with all these upgrades and amenities. You could actually drive this car daily if you wanted to. It's that good. Give me a call, 508-954-8090. Check this car out on my website. I got a full gallery of photos there, orphancargarage.com. Subscribe to us here on YouTube. We've done it all. We've proven that already. Look back at my past videos. We're all over the map, but it's always fun, interesting, special interest stuff. That's my whole business motto here. Try to keep it affordable. Find me on Facebook, like us there. All our new arrivals get posted there. I have some really cool stuff from the pipeline. You guys are going to want to stick around, I promise you. Always have something in every price range too, so don't let the price of this car scare you. If this is a little bit out of your budget, check out my website. I've got some really cool stuff under $10,000, and I always try to do that. So give me a call again, 508-954-8090, 329 on this beautiful Resto Mod 1947 Ford convertible. You'll be the envy of the neighborhood. Until the next one, we'll see you down the road.